Today, I want to talk about the number one reason that your prayers aren't answered. And I was originally trying to record this video last night, and my audio went completely out, and I spent hours trying to fix it. And I speak about that, about being spiritually attacked, about the lukewarm church in another video, which you can watch up here. But there are numerous reasons why our prayers aren't answered. But I want to really just focus on the most common and modern reason why that occurs. And I want you to turn to the book of James in chapter 4, verse 3. It says, Ye ask and receive not, because you ask amiss, that you may consume it upon your lust. The reason why your prayers aren't answered is because you want to sin abundantly. It's as simple as that. You want to be blessed so that you can then use those blessings to go sin abundantly, so that you can use them upon your lust. And many of us, we want things for the wrong reasons. So sometimes God will allow those prayers to go unanswered and even allow those things to become burdens for our protection. And I want to give you a quick example from my own life. When I was in my 20s, like most guys, I was consumed by girls. I wanted to look good. I wanted to have nice things. And I only wanted all those things for girls. And I can admit that. And I've had this conversation for years with some of my closest friends. I'm very honest with myself. I was like, no, I did it for women, you know? All of this work, all these nice things. I wasn't lying to myself, you know? One of the things that God did was that he ended up blessing me with a burden. He blessed me with a house. And some of you may find that to be very counterintuitive. But I was 23 and I was a homeowner. It crippled me financially. I didn't live in the house long, so I ended up having to pay the mortgage and rent wherever else, or all the other places that I live. So as you can imagine, I had to grow up really fast. I had to be fiscally responsible, and I was stretched thin. And it kept me out of trouble, because there were a lot of things I had to say no to. A lot of parties, a lot of trips, a lot of sinful escapades that I had to say no to, because I had to think fiscally responsible, think ahead and say, well, I need to make these rent payments. I need to make these mortgage payments. I need to have everything balanced. And looking back on it, I can 100% say that it was a blessing, because I would probably be dead right now. It would have gotten myself into some mess. I would have been at the wrong place at the wrong time. There's a lot of reasons why God protects us. He keeps us away from foolishness. And the funny part is, and this is something I was thinking about as I was preparing for this video, he didn't allow me to get rid of that house until I met my wife. When I met my wife, the house went away. He was like, oh. So easily, he just takes it right out of your life. He's like, yeah, I'll remove this burden now because you have bigger responsibilities now. So looking back on it, it was a blessing because it forced me to grow up. And some of you like this, men and women. You pray for things and those prayers are denied because God knows that we're going to use it on our lust. And I want to make a comment on both men and women. First, I'm going to start with the guys. So, a lot of us, we want nice things. You'll say to ourselves, oh, I want the car. I want the sports car, And it's never about just getting from A to B. It's never about that. And don't lie to yourself, because it's never about that. But when you follow the logical conclusion on why you want this thing, whether it's a car, whether it's a really nice watch, or, whatever it is that's in your heart, most times that logical conclusion ends with attracting women. All right. It ends with sinning abundantly, with fulfilling the lust of the flesh. And ladies, the same here. A lot of you want money. And when you follow the logical conclusion about why you want these things, oftentimes it's to be better than others, to have power, or some form of vanity. All right. You consume it upon your lust, and these things end up leading to pride and destruction. And I say that humbly to everyone, because I just gave you my example and I was very upfront about that. Right. So you have to look at yourself and you have to say, well, is that true? Do I want these things so that I can be keeping up with the Joneses? Do I want these things so that I'm viewed as better than other people, so I can have the one up on other people, so that I can look down on other people? Because oftentimes you may not realize it, but your heart never lies to God. It never does. God knows the wickedness that's in our heart. So God denies these things to keep us safe. And that's the number one and most common reason that your prayers are not being answered. I'll tell you that because your heart posture is incorrect, you know? And I want to end the video by saying that occasionally I come across people that are extremely wealthy, extremely blessed, extremely successful. But the thing that you'll notice about them is that they'll drive a regular car. They show kindness to everyone. No matter how much money they have, they show kindness to everyone. They do more good in private than many of us do in public. When you ask them about how they got to where they are, when you ask them about their blessings and the things that everything that they've accomplished, God rolls off their tongue effortlessly. It's like, it's all because of God, because of God's blessing. Their heart posture is aligned. They're like, all of this, God has blessed me with. The money doesn't define them, God defines them. And then they use God to define how their money, how their wealth, how their resources are then being used. And God continues to bless them, you know, and rightfully so, because he knows that they're going to do his will. Whatever that will is for their life, over their life, they're doing it. And many of us will stay stuck until we come to the same understanding that God's will has to be supreme. Until we remove this need for attention, for sexual lust, for ego, many of us will stay stuck with unanswered prayers. In closing, God sent me into the wilderness to remove all of these things from my life. It was hard. I'm not going to lie to you. But it's not until I started removing these things that he started answering my prayers. And one of my prayers that he answered immediately, I was like, Lord, help to free up more time so that I can do your will, so I can make these videos, so I can host the Bible studies that I'm hosting, so I can help more people. And guess what happened? He answered that prayer immediately. Everything became streamlined. Everything just started flowing much more easily in business. And I'm just like, okay, got to get to work. So anyway, I pray that you really meditate on God's word, especially James chapter 4, verse 3, and be honest with yourself. And let God reveal the true intentions that are in your heart regarding your prayers. And then you'll really start to understand why some of these things are being left unanswered. So I pray this video has been edifying for you. My name is Oscar. If you like it, like, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate your support. Thanks, and have a wonderful day.